chill. Nice. Nice. Right. So, welcome to this week's episode of Work the Left Side. I am joined by someone I would class as being probably one of the funniest guys in British wrestling. We are talking to Nash. I'm not putting any pressure on you, dude, but yeah, I mean, I've known you for years. I've seen you back in the day from when you work in Bradford and stuff like that, and you've always had this ability just to make people smile and stuff. So I think that's definitely not something to be overlooked.
Oh, thank you.
How are you, man? Anyway, you all right?
I'm good. I'm very good. Tons of traveling. I'm constantly traveling. I have to be up at 5 a.m. tomorrow to be in Birmingham. Mush Pie Chips and Gravy. That's not me saying that I want to end this really quick. That's me just letting you know that tomorrow will be a coffee-fueled, monster-fueled flight from Leeds to Birmingham.
Ooh. No offense to people from Birmingham, but I can't imagine I really enjoy it.
I've got 3 little visits to do there tomorrow, and then I can head back home. And then, yeah. But yeah, just normal. When you're my age, life and times and things, and that's a cat tapping at the door. My life is basically travel, occasional spandex, travel, more travel, hotels, spandex, hotels, but back to travel, then home again. It's a vicious repeating cycle.
Spandex in hotels?
No, well, only on the OnlyFans. If I had an OnlyFans, I'm sure that'd be something to do. Spandex on hotel at onlyfans.com. Although I have been known to do front flips, back flips, handstands, cartwheels, and jumps onto all beds.
This is good. You got to test the durability.
This is it. You want to know if you're getting a decent night's sleep, don't you? You don't want to be sleeping on a brock. It's you want a nice, comfy situation.
So, dude, yeah, as I sort of saying, anybody who hasn't heard of WingCommander Nash or going old school JG Nash back in the day, Nash rules. But yeah, what's been going on recently, man? I know you've been working the scenes a lot. You got a match coming up this Friday. So
yeah, how can I put this politely? I work all the shows that not many people go to or don't know about, but do know about at the same time. So I'm not on the higher end with all the really good in shape wrestlers that know how to do the good wrestling. That cat's just tapping. I can hear him tapping away like a mad. Fiver says it's Rodney, my lazy cat that thinks it's a dog. Yeah, just some of the shows that I've been popping up on, it's just been more enjoyable for me. Trying different things, entertaining certain things, doing all the family shows. Should we put it? We're doing the family shows. We're popping on the spandex. We're doing family shows. I did a show last week where the ring was so high and the roof was so low that I headbutted the light without even thinking about it. That sucked. Especially when I was trying to climb the top rope and I had to go into a full, what could look like a small toddler squatting down to do a poo position. And I was like, nope, I can't walk the top. I'll have to walk the middle, give my thighs thigh burn from the top rope. Yeah, I'm enjoying what's going on. Yeah, I've got Friday. I'm going to True Grit. That match has been changed. It was supposed to be myself versus Chuckwood versus Sean Only versus B.A. Rose. And now Chuck has been kidnapped and Ace Matthews. Sorry, I'm going to have to let this cat in. I do apologise. Bear with me 1 second. I don't have to go far. The door's right here. Prepare yourself for a meow. Oh, that's Gary.
There he is.
Right, Gary, find a place, sit down, chill out. Welcome to the show, Gary. What are you going to do? Are you going to eyeball me from there, or? Ladies and gentlemen, it was a sweet murr of Gary, the cat that suffers from the life of sad more than he should, even though he lives with his actual brother. So here he is, and there he was. Yeah, so True Grit, it's a fatal four-way. I'm determined to beat the True Grit streak, where I haven't won a single match at True Grit in however long True Grit's been running. And I've been on the shows. That is some time. I'm pretty sure at some point my child was still a baby when True Grit was around.
13, 14, something like that. Might have been about 8 or 9 years on that thing.
Yeah. oh yeah, the first one was the large one at Cardigan Fields. That was the debut show. Cardigan Fields Evolution nightclub. What's the nightclub called? I can't remember. But they were there because old Rampage was there. Chris Travis, a few others. But yeah, it's been a nice while being on True Grit. It'd be nice if I actually won something. You know, I'd appreciate a win here and there. They'd be quite nice. So I'm sorry.
You're like anti-Undertaker. You'll be like 31-1 or something.
This being on Friday, we have to come out. Rest in peace, Chuck Wood. Oh, he's not there. B.A. Rose. Yeah, I'm hoping. Well, I'm not hoping. The game plan is to run out and destroy without being destroyed. That's the plan. That's the actual plan of action. Look, there's Gary, right? I'm trying to talk, and you're just right in the middle of everything. Look, there's all this room. You can go anywhere you want, but you choose my lap.
Yep. Right, give me.
Sorry about this.
Don't apologise. I've got 2 cats. I know exactly what they're like. They just come and bother me all the time. It's like that. Yes, so obviously, yeah, Chuck Wood's gone then. So obviously, I kind of clocked that he was in it. I thought his character and Wing Commander would have gone very well together. Hopefully, we'll see that down the line at some point.
Yeah, I mean, I did a promo where I threatened to chop the wood like Karate Kid. Not sure if Karate Kid actually chopped any wood in the films, but during the promo, before I got kicked in the face by Sean Only, I thought it made great reference to chopping wood.
I think it was Ice, wasn't it?
Well, Ice Wood, they're equally as tough. Either way, I was looking forward to yelling timber and drop kicking him as far as I could. But I mean, I've still got the huge deathmatch monster baby child thing, B.A. Rose, to deal with, and then there's the ever so tall, ever so aggressive, welcome to my nightmare, Sean Only, who's technically he's first on the radar for kicking me square in the mush and flattening me at the last True Grit tapings, which was terrible of him. Terrible human. It's not very gentlemanly, is it?
He's a bad man.
He's a bad man.
Not the way of John Cena. Obviously, shows are coming back on. Just give you a shout out as well. When I said that you were coming onto the show, Ryan, who's does episodes with us, is Geordie. He was very impressed because I think you was up north or further north doing some ring announcing around that neck of the woods at some point recently.
Yes, for North, we truly mean all the disrespect. Available on IWTV. That was very strange. That came out of doing Rise, as I'm Miles's dad at Rise, and doing the Rise shows. Did a bit of announcing because the shows were Danny O'Doherty was being involved in quite a bit of the skullduggery shenanigans in the ring. So I ended up doing a bit of hosting of the shows, which was exciting until there's deathmatch glass flying everywhere and you're thinking, is this going in my face and in my eye while I stand here? And you kind of panic and hope that you don't poop yourself. So the announcing from that then, I have no idea what that noise was. The announcing from there, a party got involved that then informed North. Then I travelled to North, and then my first experience of North was arriving, I'd say 20 minutes before doors were about to open. Here's a microphone. Have you spoken to the talent? Off you pop. And I was like, I took great pleasure in elbow dropping my scarf in the middle of the ring. I was egged on to falling into the ring, even though I just tried to simply enter the ring. I get caught on the top rope, fall in. It's a learning curve. It's been this way for 10 years.
Yes.
And the crowd wouldn't allow me to walk in properly until I slowly, at the main event, I composed myself and I slid in through the middle and the bottom rope, and I delicately went, shh, it's the main event. No time for me to be foolish and tripping over here now. So it was good. North is a fantastic company. Everybody backstage, the environment, it was just really good, really nice. Very polite and happy, and the crowd, very, 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 very nice humans indeed. I have been meaning to pop back up to North.
I think it's good because, like I say, you sounds like you made a good impression because, like I say, yeah, Ryan got straight away as soon as I said your name, he was like, "Yep." That's good. And he said you're did like a crazy good job. So it's like, oh, there you go. Bit of positive feedback for you as well, dude.
Yeah, the current announcer, who briefly retired for a short period and then returned, popped into my DMs and informed me of he'd heard good things of me. So that was very pleasing. I was quick to inform him that not a scratch or a shine on that man. It was, yeah, just a great experience. Weird to not wear spandex but still be a pillock in a ring is a bonus. Just a slightly more smarter dressed pillock, as it were.
More of a dapper gentleman.
I was buttoned up. There's only 2 buttons loose at the top, you see. I was definitely going for the continental breakfast yet lunch attire.
Wanker then. That's no top button wanker business.
Not with my 16.5-inch neck. I ain't got time for that.
So obviously you made mention then of the top rope bit. Obviously, I think first time I ever saw you was probably about 10 years ago plus at BWA. And that was, I remember that spot, and it's always kind of stuck with me. But yes, that's what seems to be. How did you start doing this sort of stuff? What got you involved in it? What sort of made you think, you know what, I'm going to...
Just in wrestling or just falling into the ring from the top rope?
Both, to be fair. Did you go into it thinking, right, I'm going to be badass, and then think, actually, you know what, I'd rather just make people laugh?
Sorry, give me 1 second. I'm sweating in my snooty. I'm wearing a giant snooty. I can't help it. I thought it'd be colder in here. It's actually not. One moment. Gary, don't move. Oh, you're moving. Okay. There we go. Right. And I'm back in the room, slightly sweatier. So, how much info can I release on the public? Well, I have 2 children. One is 21 and one is 10. The 10-year-old had been born, and I was randomly a little phase. I'd seen that there was a wrestling school and we were watching wrestling. Fun fact: when my daughter was born, Big Show and The Miz were Raw Tag Team Champions as Show Miz. And we sat and watched that. Not that she could clearly understand what was going on because it was on a tablet and she'd just been born. I don't think she went, oh, now I'm out of sight of my mum. First thing I had to do was watch Raw.
Watch the movie back in.
Yeah, it was just, I thought if we set the bar and just let us see what should be watching on a weekend, then we can get it going. Yeah, just like, there we go. And that's The Miz and that's the Big Show. They're the tag team. And I'd randomly seen that there was a school advertised in Leeds, and my partner, she was like, oh, why don't you give it a try? You got naught to lose, which she then turned to regret. So I popped down for one training thing because we all had like a little separate time away from being a family unit, so have like your own personal time to do stuff. So she had her hobby to go out and do, and then she was like, you're interested in this, you go do this. Then that unfortunately spiraled out of control from being a Leeds company on a weekend, which then got a midweek class. Then the midweek class got another midweek class. Then I was going for the midweeks and the weekend classes to another school. Long story short, I enjoyed it, but I once came home after being in Preston, and it was like the scene of a horror movie. I walked into the lounge. Well, I walked through the front door. It was about 1 o'clock in the morning. I dropped the bag on the landing. I go into the lounge to sit down and go, just have a bit of peace before I go to sleep. And there was literally a silhouette of a 5'3" red-haired woman sat in a seat, and I was like, turn the light on, and she was just sat there, and she went, I hate you. And I was like, oh. So she offered to do it, so to take it on, and then it started to really cause friction because I was trying to attend as many shows as possible, whether to be on them or to help out, as every trainee does. And yeah, it caused quite a bit of, like, I was spending more time chasing spandex life than I should have been at home, being a dad and being proper. So I got my telling off and had to rein it back in because family life and normality in that sense. And I'd rather lose lycra than lose my house life, if that makes sense.
Makes perfect sense, dude. Responsible, priorities, really, and it's good. It's nice. I can pretty much sort of guarantee any wrestler out there that does it full time or part time will tell you that they would always pick family over what they're doing. So that's and if they don't, they're idiots.
It's the double-edged sword of life is wrestling and family life. It's sacrifices and stuff like that.
It's finding the balance, I guess, isn't it? That's so obviously you found it somewhere because you're still doing it, and you haven't.
Yeah,
So.
it's because she's in charge of my booking emails. So any emails that come through, I find out if I'm working when she puts it in the family calendar. So I have a wrestling calendar that rarely gets touched, but the family calendar, I know where so and so is on a Saturday morning at 9:15. But then I see another one and go, when did this come in? I'm where? So that ended up becoming the ground rule. It sounds like I'm under the thumb, but happy
Oh,
wife,
no,
happy life.
right. If she's your boss, you can't do no wrong.
This is it.
That's it. If she turns around then and says like, "What you doing? Where you been?" You're like, "Well, you told me to go." So
I've been gone for 12 hours because you said it would ain't calendar. So it's it was that from my daughter being born, and then personal interests, and then falling in love, and then having the weird, oh, it's not as I thought when I saw it on TV. This is more involved in this and this and this, and then having that weird watching it when you start to learn it, and then going, oh, and then little bits and bobs of stuff that all like clicked into place for you, and then it's kind of then changes how you watch wrestling. So you can
yeah,
you can watch a show or a pay-per-view and go, oh, but do you watch it as the fan of it watching it, or do you watch it and going, well, if I'd have been in that match, maybe this, clearly I wouldn't do that because I can't work like that. But if I try to watch it as a homework basis, it's going to take 2 or 3 attempts because I get too caught up in the excitement. There's still a massive child in me that does it.
that's it. It's always better to. I suppose it's like, yeah, you don't want to lose that innocence. I suppose like you want to watch it just as a fan. You don't want to start critiquing every little thing, otherwise you're going to drive yourself nuts. You're not going to.
Yeah, like where's the point of enjoyment once you've gone, well, that match for me 7 minutes in would have been better for this. I couldn't. I want to know. Well, the hardest part is the 10-year-old in my house is a critiquer of wrestling. She'll sit there and so she has access to absolutely everything. So there's AEW, WWE, there's TNA, we have IWTV. So there's stuff that she watches. Some stuff I won't let her watch for obvious reasons. But it's like stuff where she'll pick up the remote, and then you can hear a finger clicking, and you'll turn around, and she's like booming through certain matches. I'm like, you know what? She's like, don't like him, so I'm not going to bother watching him. I'm like, oh, and you're 10 and doing this. I was like making a slowly play mine at like 0.25 speed to take it all in if it takes 3 days just on an entrance. I was like, do you appreciate that? And she's like, no. I was like, thanks. I'll go back in the kitchen and think about what you've just said.
Likes what she likes. You don't like what she don't like. That's it.
Very true. Kids are ruthless.
There's no filter though. That's why. And that's sometimes the best thing. You're like, right, watch this and let me know. It's shit. They'll tell you it's shit. They won't sugarcoat it.
Oh,
Like,
my other half, if she can't sleep, I will happily put some of mine on. She, poof, gone out in the light, and then she's like, "Oh no!" She literally there, and you can see her eyes going, and then mouth opens a little bit, and you're thinking, "Whoa, you could actually slot like a crisp in there while she's sleeping." They could get 3 Pringles, 4 Pringles, go for tube before she starts to like kick off. But she can happily fall asleep. She liked it until a wrestler spat on her at a show, and then she wanted to proper throttle him, and I was like, "Oh." It was that was the last experience that she had. Oh, and then another wrestler tried to flirt with her, and she ended up squeezing his bollocks and telling him to F off. And I chuckled greatly at that.
Can you name and shame the spear one? How about
the spitter one? It was Matt Slater. Speaking of BWE, he'd gone to spit somewhere and ended up going across my wife, and she just saw red, and I was like, oh, I was like, don't worry about me, mate. She used to box. She'll have you. He apologized, but she was like, I don't want to come to any shows anymore. I was like, but what if I get on bigger, fancier ones? And she went, I'm never coming to another show with you, which is, she stayed true. I tried to drag her to 2 that went on, and she was having none of it. She was like, I'm going now. And I was like, I guess that means I'm going as well then.
But like you said, happy wife, happy life.
Yeah.
But wow. So, but yeah, obviously back in the day, like we sort of said, BWA, I was going to say KGW. Yeah, it was KGW. They changed to or GW, didn't they? I think,
Mm-hmm.
correctly. What was it like? Just sort of obviously like, just working. Is it something you got into I presume Leeds peeps kind of have not a clique, but you're pretty tight. So I can imagine like you, Seb.
It's weird. It's kind of I wouldn't say it's a clique, but obviously if there's
But
a group of you trained at a school, you all know that person, but then you'll also find that um you're then classed as that area. So you've got Northwest Strong and their selection of guys. Then you've got down south, you've got the Welsh guys, and then it turns out as well, it's basically it's regional in that sense for everything. So when it comes to doing certain shows, you get the nice bit of excitement of if you are crossing motorway borders and then meeting other people and talking to them, playing catch up, seeing faces you've not seen for a while, and going, oh, I haven't seen you since so and so, or you first meet, and then you become friends further on, and then before you know it, kind of everybody becomes friends. But it's I think wrestling is the same as any other job in the world. You will go to work and there'll be somebody that you'll like and there'll be somebody that you don't like, and you're like, this sounds rough. At my age, I have I was going to say a short filter. That's not right. If I like somebody, yeah, I ain't got time for child's play in that sense. Like my time's already busy. Like I spend a hell of a lot of time away from everybody and everything with the real life, so to speak. So when I do go, I like to see the friends that I've not seen for a while, and that moment in between backstage, catching up, seeing them, even if it's the McDonald's after a show, or recently we all went for a curry during a 40-degree heat wave, which was possibly the worst idea you could ever do because I felt like I was in a bath and it was just pure sweat in my body. I felt like I could just dip a nan on me and share it amongst people. It's just I make the most of my time, but then again, also I don't want that coming across as if I go to a show and there's somebody I don't like and go, oh, piss off, I don't want to speak to you. I'm not that type of guy either. I just
manners, but you just won't go out your way.
Yeah, like it's weird. It's been brought up at one show that's coming up in the future, which will be TBA. But there was a person from that one where there was just hostility between us in real life and in the wrestling life. And he came over and he was being quite arsey and cocky and started chelping on. And I was just like, wow. It was like, you're not going to shut me on. And I was like, I don't like you in real life and I don't like you in wrestling. Get away from me. And that was the height of it as it got. And he walked away. And then I found out I had to get in a car with him to go to another show. And I went, oh, cool. I got in a car and drove on my own. I got to the venue and the guy was like, oh, shouldn't you move so-and-so? I was like, you leave me alone for 10 minutes with that man and he won't be alive. And then it caused a bit of friction. I had to apologize and calm down. I was like, look, unfortunately, I brought my private side into it. He was like, he's asked if you'll work with him. So I was like, look, if I'm getting paid to wrestle the man, I will wrestle the man. Don't worry about me punching him in the face or being ridiculous or underhanded anyway. It will still be a WingCommander mash. Mash? It'd be a WingCommander mash. They did the what? The WingCommander mash. It was like just, I'm still going to do the job with him. But I'm not going to be like, oh, mate, let's go to Macca's or the Curry House after this because I feel like I've missed out on 10 years of your face. It's, I think I've gotten older and more set in my ways. Like I like my time. I want to enjoy my time while I'm around. I ain't got time to be playing kissy ass club, sneaky round. Oh, Bill, you be my friend and we can talk shit about this person. That type of. I ain't got that time. I can't even play games proper for like more than an hour without having to do something. What do you think I'm going to do? Waste my time talking to somebody I don't like? Oh my god.
Exactly. Like you say, if you're away from your family and stuff, and you're doing what you're doing, you want quality time. You want to catch up with people you like. Like you say hi, keep walking.
Yeah, so, it's show business, not show friends.
Oh, nice. So where did obviously, like I said, when I first saw you, when you first came onto the scene, it was the old JG Nash sort of character.
Wonderpants.
Yeah, yeah, the lovable geek who wanted to be a Hulk Hogan, kind of with the yellow.
Well, sir.
How did that evolve into a wing commander?
Okay, so this on a side note, the little photos that you did of me, I came and grabbed you and bought them off you. I still have 2 of those. One of those is framed, and it's in a box with other frame stuff that's eventually going to go up in this little shed studio thing. So thank you for those. I still have them. So for me, I think when you have your initial training, somebody goes, "So what do you want to be as a wrestler?" And they go, "Ooh, I want to be a big muscly man that beats people up, or I want to be a mysterious ninja that jumps out of smoke and chokes my opponents." And I just went, "I want to be a complete div." So I opted for sounding like Keith Lemon. 3D TVs were everywhere, including those terrible glasses. So I was all right for stock and merch there. I had no real wrestling gear, but I had a pair of trousers that didn't fit and a couple of shirts. I had some braces, and I went, I could be a nerd. And you look out at the sea of wrestlers on the internet, and you go, oh, who's dressing like an absolute div? And you're looking around, and everyone looks serious. Baby oil, tans, physiques. I'm portly. I can cover that with a shirt. I'm going to cut these short trousers into shorts. I'll wear a kick me sign on my back. That went from being dressed as a stereotypical internet nerd with the braces and whatnot, and coming out with the glasses with the sellotape and the comb over, to then finally getting told to get some gear or making the upgrade to getting some proper wrestling gear. From that, I got proper Union Jack trunks and kick pad covers as every wrestler's first adventure into spandex. Did zero kicks. Got some Transformer trunks. They were my faves. Got some Avengers, and then I went wild on that. And then the yellow Nash rules. So me and Serico, the Ugandan warrior, who used to be Disco Wes, were like, "Oh, we're a tag team at this company." I was like, "Do you want to do a Mega Powers rip-off?" And he was like, "Yeah." So mine was Nash rules, and then his was what did he say? Oh, he had. Oh, it was like Enserico's Running Wild or something on his. I can't remember what it was. Oh, that's gonna bug me, and it'll come to eventually. But so because of the yellow, that's why I've run around in Nash Rules top. And then obviously I was like, this is a clear rip off of Nash Rules. I was like, it's not ripped apart yet. I will just wear it to cover my man belly for the remainder until it lasted. Last year, I think me and Serico went out and did a Total Warrior, and I went down face first, down through barbed wire and a muddy hill. It ripped, it shredded. When I started, I was in yellow and the trunks, and when I finished, I looked like I definitely climbed out of the back of a hippo that was alive. It was just ruined and filthy, and I washed it, and none of the stains came out. And I was like, lifted it up and I put it in the bin and give it a little salute, and then watched it disappear. And I was like, I won't be able to wear you again, pal. But from there, I'd run the course over the years as JG, not on major companies. It was all the smaller ones, the family ones. Trying stuff, failing at trying stuff. Just being the person on the hook, trying to be that one person on the card that doesn't blend in, but doesn't try to take another spot in my mindset because of how stupid and the daft stuff that I do. I was like, I want to change because I feel it's run its course. Even I'm bored of being the Wonderpants superstar. Oh yeah, I bought the belt that I had made. That was a laugh. That was when electricity bills actually give you refunds when you're in credit, rather than going, oh, we need $5,000 for you for putting on a light. I donated the belt to one of my super fans, Tony Norton.
Yes.
Pulled up in my bright yellow Volkswagen Beetle with a Transformer logo on the bonnet, and I handed it to him. I went, there you go. It's the end of an era. You are the Wonderpants champion. Nice. And then I was like, so JG Nash needs to get a job. JG Nash can fly drones. JG Nash has a drone license. But what if JG Nash gets a job at an airport working in baggage but tells people he flies planes? Oh no, but if I fly planes, what if something happens? And then there's a psh, 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 and I was like, right, I'm now from the 1950s. My name's WingCommander Nash. I've got a lovely mustache. Here I am. Look at my scarf. It stays out stiff. That was like a dab. Yeah, I don't know if you can hear on the podcast, but I did a dab 3 times. Then the hat, the jacket that I bought, which was allegedly my size, and arrived, and this fits a child. I've decided to stick with it. And then I've gone from being JG Nash, the Wonderpants champion, to growing older. Oh, I'll tell you, the real reason why I changed my gimmick is because I found a sudden burst of grey hair in my head. And I was like, it appears Mother Time has tapped me on the shoulder and went, now you're an old man, pack it in. So that's why I've gone, better age myself. So the stylish a dashing man has silver hair popping out, and I'm thinking, well, I'm going to have to play something far more serious. Hence, this absolute lunatic that happens to pop up now and just, yeah, I enjoy it, and I love having the footage where no matter the venue, there'll be a little footage of allegedly me in a parachute coming into land, and then it'll land and it'll walk towards the venue. I like having that little extra. So I may not be on all the major brands that everybody's aware of, and in everybody's top 10 lists of wrestlers, and I'm pretty sure I'm more unknown than known. But what I put into me, or that character, that person, that other part of me, doll to 11, that don't even fly a real plane but does fly a plane. I like having that. What I present to the family show that could have 20 people in, could have 60 people in, could have 100 people in, could be True Grit, could be North. That person that I present there is the same that I'd want to put to TNA, WWE, AEW. Not saying that a 42-year-old man is going to be getting signed to AEW anytime soon, unless they're looking for a real bad CM Punk impersonator, which I could do, and you could CM Punk, and I could happily walk out there and look at my eyes and just do whatever. It's the same person that you get on the other shows. I think True Grit is starting to rebuild some momentum, which I'm loving. After COVID, North was probably one of the most known companies to me because of their social media presence, honesty with fans, loyalty. When everything was going a bit, they were putting out all the relevant information. So if you wanted, you could see who's going to be working on the show and on the next show, and everything was on the table. You could see it all, and the fans just truly adore that company. So my moment stepping there was a bit like, it was squeaky bum time, if I'm going to be honest, because I was like, this is a little bit more intense, because I'm not going to get scrutinized and be like, oh, you're absolute garbage, leave. But this is more eyes on me, to the weird point that when I got IWTV and put it in the lounge, my daughter went, "You're on an app," and I was like, turns out I'm on an app. So it's been a roller recently. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm doing something, but I'm also not aware of what bookings I have and don't have, because they don't go through me. They go through the 5'3" redhead who's no longer red. She's brownie blonde. She changes her hair regular.
The boss. We'll just refer to her as the boss.
The boss lady.
Lady. Also, like you say, you might not be known by many people, but I think I can sincerely say the people that do know appreciate. Just because we know, by talking to you or seeing things that you do, we know it's sort of genuine. We know you're having fun. That means we're having fun.
Thank you, man.
So, if that's hopefully that makes it a little bit more.
Okay. I live for feedback of any kind, whether it's positive or negative. I'm happy if there's something that someone's not pleased with that I do in a ring. That's their opinion. They've either paid for a ticket or they've seen it on somewhere. I've taken a moment of their time for them to watch something, and they could have been watching something else while on the toilet instead of watching TikTok, or they could be. I was in Aldi. Don't stress me out. Shopping at Aldi. They've got some cracking food. And the show last week for Classic UK Pro Wrestling, I had a chap called Kason Ryan as my opponent that I'd met in Burnley or Bolton. I'll probably get in trouble for that because they're two very different places. So he was my opponent. He was also the chap who I had in the ring where the roof was as high as the ring posts. I was walking to Aldi, doing the big shop, getting the meat in, getting all the veg, getting all the bits and bobs. And there's a guy started smiling at me, and I was like, he's a really happy worker. And then he went, "Hey, yo, last night." And as soon as I did that, I just went, "Oh," and lowered myself down. I was like, I don't know if he's a wrestling fan or he's going to be super wrestling fan. I stood back up.
Is he going to critique you for the next 10 minutes, or is he just going to?
When you give him that headlock and he popped out headlock, what was that about? It was like he says he literally, because he saw me, he went, "Loved it. I really enjoyed myself last night," and I was like, "Cool." So obviously, my 10-year-old's losing her little mind. She's like, oh, my dad's well famous. I was like, Ronaldo, calm down. And gets around a couple of aisles, he pops up and he's like, hey, I don't know how you do it, right, but the way you did it, it just made my mind exploded. And that to me was the single most perfect thing you want to hear. Nobody wants a breakdown or a teardown. They just want to tell you how they felt sat there last night. So the fact that I'd done that to him, he's going to work, see me again. I don't look different in and out of trunks, apart from I've got more clothes on. And he was happy enough to have that conversation with me. I was like, that man's gonna go off and tell either his workmate that he's seen somebody that made him laugh last night, or he might not, or he could have put it on his personal Facebook that he had a right laugh last night, seeing the guy who went to sport versus this idiot with a mustache, and I'm having a small impact on that man's day or shape, form, life, skill, whatever he wants to enjoy it on. It's nice, weird that I was trying to do a big shop, but nice at the same time. It was just random man start smiling at me. I was like, I'm on a shoplifter camera and like glancing around and like checking if my kid's nicked out. It was just
Bringing from a light fitting or something. That's what he's smiling.
Sorry about that. Yeah, he's like, do you remember you owe me 55 quid for that light fitting, mate? I'm one of the chief officers at the pub you were in. It was good, man.
As well, where you popped up, obviously Work the Left Side is part of the Johners podcasting family, and I believe what I will call the boss spoke to you last week after that show. Was it that show? That
Unstoppable. That was a surreal experience again, because I'm aware of the Johners and seeing the traffic come through, and it was like, oh, have you got a moment to have a conversation? I was like, I am blowing out my backside. I'm sweating. I'm bleeding. I need to just tend to this. This looks quite aggressive. And I'd cut a part of my thigh on a small burr on the ring. It wasn't Unstoppable's ring. It was a ring from another company. And my leg found the only part that had this weird bit in it. So when it stabbed me and during the match, I was like, my leg's burning. Shouldn't be burning. It was like, my gear's washed because I'm a nice gentleman like that. I was like, so why is it burning? And he does the match, asked me to go have a chat. Films a promo. I think I looked about 83 different positions for the lens because I couldn't work out which way smartphone was. So whether I was looking at the home button, looking at the camera, looking at the ring behind, I glanced down. There's an X on the floor. I went, hey, I've made it now. There's only an X on the floor for me to stand here. I can't get this wrong. Gets redressed in my ring jacket that is the equivalent of 15 towels wrapped together. So there's plenty of room for breathing. I was like, oh my word, I think it's dripping down my butt cheeks. And then he asked me the question, and I was like, oh, this is going out. This isn't just a backstage thing that will be seen somewhere. I was like, this is like proper all boom. And he was really polite and very honest and had some great comments for me afterwards. And I was very thankful. And then I got downstairs and took my tights and trunks off, and I went, oi, why have I got a 2-inch slash down my leg with a bit of skin missing? So then I had to have the health and safety team come around with a small medicational box and some saline solutions and whatnot, and have that dripped and washed and raised and cleaned. And it's good. I've still got 2 legs, in case anybody's wondering. It's fine. I've just got a really big gnarly scab.
You didn't get a bottle of whiskey, just pour it on your leg and get some shoes.
Do you know, I was thinking of going full Rambo and just setting it on fire. I cauterize it straight from the pot. I was like, I was going to stand deliberately in a bit of a hedge and just tie around my head and scream as I burn my flesh. I'm like, oh, I'm going home. I'm feeling proud of that. And then obviously walking and my wife see me. She's like, what have you done? Like, you won't believe what I did in the hedge. And she'd probably just look at me and go to bed.
But hey, no, I believe you. We love Jollers. And I popped for you when he sort of, obviously it goes out on his page on social medias and stuff like that. But like, obviously it's on Instagram that I saw it because I had to have a little comment. But yeah, so
mate, that photo he used, what were my eyes doing? They were independently going off. I was like, I'm looking at the roof and John's at the same time. Of all the stills, I'm like,
Michael's impression.
I was just like, no, I'm sure I look normal recording that. I glanced at myself a few times. My lazy eye were playing chase with my good eye. I was like, oh, we're playing table tennis here, we're off. But the 140 put, I was like, oh no, look like I've got that sweet release in my face.
So, you mentioned it before, Rise, Miles' dad.
Yes.
How did that sort of come about? Then obviously, you've got the
um,
stuff.
I'll
Yeah,
tell you, we there was a Christmas dinner that was being held way before COVID where people could meet up and go for a pub lunch. I was invited to tag along because I've known a few of the wrestlers that were going. And Danny O'Doherty, God love him, he literally sat next to me at the table. Then he went, "I don't like your pilot gimmick." I was like, fucking hell. I was like, "Ooh, okay." He goes, "Gonna change it." I was like, "All right, wicked." And it laid it online. He was like, "You're going to be Miles' dad." And I was like, "I'm a dad." I was like, "I can do being a dad. And this is fine." And then it got close to the show. Nobody knew who Miles' dad was. Miles' dad, previously in the storylines, had cancelled one of the original death matches that was going to be held at the Brood and Hell. So Miles Kamen, the wonderful, wonderful human that he is, had portrayed that his dad had got it cancelled. It's his fault. There'll be no death match. Not having it team sober for life. Boof, boof, boof. Nobody knew that I was going to be Miles. So the day I arrive at Rise, Miles came and finds out that I'm Miles' dad. Miles is far more trained than I am. I am JG Nash, Wonderpants, wrestler, bad cardio. What's he doing here? They must thought, is he a 12-weight ring? I was like, I'm your dad. And he went, you're getting eliminated from the Rumble. Miles, I am your father. And he just went, yeah. So I told him I'm his dad. Everybody else is like, you're Miles' dad. I was like, yeah. And I was like, this isn't going down. Nobody's appreciating this Miles' dad. So I was like, right, sack it. Let's do it. Gets the dress on. Previous role I'd had to this one, I was working in law companies. Fun fact, JC Thunder told me that after one of the Rise shows, people believed Miles' dad was so real that they were trying to look for Miles in law firms in Leeds. So that's how much I'd pulled this drunk crowd in Brood and Hell. I was like, really? It was like 100% people asking if you're an actual lawyer. I was like, I've done the job. So the show happens. I come out, do a promo. I'm part of Sober. Nobody likes Sober. I explain something with Danny. Bit of silliness. I make a reference to paralegal activity because it's paralegal is an actual term. There was a pop. There's a giggle. The Rumble comes out. I walk out there in a singlet that looks like a bikini. A swimsuit and a pair of shooters in red and blue. And I called myself Hurt Ankle. I'm dressed like Hurt Ankle, the Olympic wrestler. I walk out expecting to be booed to buggery. The room doesn't do what I assume, and I'm like, shit, I'm liked, but I shouldn't be. We have some shenanigans. I end up eliminating Miles. The fucking room explodes. And then the Miles dad and Miles beef just picks up. And we have, to the point that one of the guys, Chair Painting Freak, shout out him on Instagram. He did me a custom Miles is Dad, Rise Rumble 2019, the third annual over-the-top extravaganza steel chair. So he customized that, and that lives in my little summer house office gimmick. It was a fun ride being as Miles' dad. I'm not sure if Miles' dad's going to return to Rise. I'm not saying that in like a Chasing Bookings reference idea. I think we did everything we're going to do with Miles' dad to the point where I was recently scrapping with Heidi Katrina. I tried to pull my trousers down to get my legs out with my boots on as a surprise. Fell over. That went down smooth. So as Miles' dad at Rise, yeah, it was different, somewhat different because it was a similar character but different terms, and wanting to punch your child in the face but not punch him in the face, and refusing to hug him. The first show I was out and the crowd was like, "Oh, hug your son, just hug him." We won't talk about the show where I just got chanted pedo at because of my tash for the entire match. I was like, welcome to over 18s, Nash. Welcome to over 18s. From pedo to Miles' dad, the hero. Good times, man. It was good. just, oh gosh, just so random.
How did you feel being is that the first time you ever played a heel? Then you were deliberately going out trying to get booze and stuff because obviously you normally or,
No,
that
it's different. It's like I didn't think to myself, I'm the bad guy. I'm gonna go out and be the bad guy. I just went out being a dad, like a dad who was like some of the when I'm in the we were tagging, me and Miles were tagging versus boy one and boy two. And halfway through, we were doing some move exchanges, and I'd gone in and had one of the boys, and I turned him, and he was looking at me funny. He went, "Don't look at me like that." And he went, "Why?" He went, "I know what you did with the skiing instructor in France." Well, I know what you did with the skiing instructor in France. And he went, and I was like, "Well, I went, don't bloody lie to me," and just having an argument like it was like chatting to your kid when he's like, "What's this? Another broken iPhone?" That kind of conversation. And Miles would bounce it back and forth with us and just play his part of being a kid who's potentially rich because daddy's got business, and having this. And I was like, I'm not afraid, Miles. I'll cut your allowances off. And you think you're taking the car this weekend? Not a chance. Just little hoity stuff like that of just being a dad, until eventually we did have a hug when he stopped being an absolute sausage and beating me up. But then as soon as he hugged me, it was like low blows and all. It was like looking at him and going, "You're like my son, but you're not 6'5", and you've not got a beard. That's the only difference."
just small differences. So yeah, I mean, obviously, like I said, for a majority of the time, like family shows, or fun and games, and then yeah, you come out at Rise, and anybody from Leeds who's listening, if you're into wrestling, you know what Rise is. It's like the alternative wrestling scene around Leeds. It's an experience.
Yeah, they've got a few big. I think they advertised their next Christmas show over at Sheffield PPW unit. I'd love to tell you the exact address, but I don't know it. But on the socials, it's on there. I think it's 17th of December. They've got their Christmas show coming up, and then after that, they've got the ICW, not the Scottish one. They've got ICW, NHB, Deathmatch Madness. So they're coming on tour, and then they're finishing the tour. Is it 2 or 3 days in Leeds? So that's they might as well just book that in a glass factory. That's going to be chaotic. I'm far too attractive to be doing death matches, so that's what I've been told by my boss. So I'll watch from a distance. I'll be like, "Oh, you that were good, man. Hit me with a teddy bear, not a chair."
Yeah, but you could be like the Mick Foley in ECW in like '95. You just go there, be totally anti-hardcore.
Just smashing people in the face with blown up lilos. Get down!
Go no in heart, get a bag of popcorn and start whacking somebody with a bag of popcorn.
If Danny messages me saying he's heard this and he wants to book that and end up getting, I've got a flannel shirt, so we're halfway there.
So just get a sock as well.
Yeah. I'll walk down with my cat Gary looking all tens and strength.
Oh yeah. Oh, that'd be awesome. Just get a lead on him. Just get him walking down like a bad.
Cat was so bad. I'm like, I do love my pets, I promise. While dragging this cat down a flight of stairs. Go on, Gary, you're making me look a div.
That'd be awesome. What's the plans going forward, then, man? Are you obviously just gonna keep doing what you're doing? It seems to me like sort of boxes are getting ticked at the minute. Like you are doing, like I said, just working at North. That's a little bit more of like an upward curve.
Yeah.
Like say, True Grit coming back, working with some of the guys at True Grit, stuff like that. It seems like sort of things are falling into place a bit now.
Yeah, it's weird. It's I always with wrestling, I always find myself in like a jealous state because wrestling's definitely a young person's game in all intents and purposes. I've been asked a couple of times because I'm always the oldest in a backstage area, which I'm like, tell somebody about. Told Big Guns Joe my age last week, and he went, "What?" And I was like, yes, sir. For me, it's a jealous thing because I travel a lot with work. I don't get to hit training, so like heading to PPW, which are just turning out fantastic trainees. The whole venue gimmick setup is fantastic. That they have it's like a promo room, a gym, the actual ring space. homework stations, on-site car parking. There's just everything there for you. And then their set days. Liam Slater has always said that if I'm not in hotels and away and I have some on the days they're open, give them a shout. I can go over on the days. Potentially, I can also get in touch with them to say, as can most people, if you want private sessions to train and catch up. So we've been missing out on training so much. When I'm in a hotel in Southampton or Bournemouth or Scotland, that I can get to a gym to work out. I'm not obviously the most jacked, but I am back with Liam Lazarus's personal training. Through lockdown, I started it. Then I got in good shape. Then I got fat again. And then I'm back on it now. So for me, there's a nice little personal drive for that, because I want to, for my age, be in shape, just to be older to see my daughter when she gets married, or if she gets abducted by aliens or whatever she wants to do. I want to be around to see her when I'm old. I want to be a granddad, but not yet. If my son's listening to this, I will legitimately kick you in the balls if you get a girl pregnant, because I'm not going to be a granddad at 42. Yeah, I want to have more time in wrestling training, being on shows, learning more stuff. I recently did a Rampage seminar just to go through basics again. Hello, pussycat. Gary, you're asleep. There's a cat on the screen.
Thank you, Gary, for a look.
So I was doing Rampage seminar and going through stuff, and it's the little small things again. Foot placement, this. Why would you do this? Where'd you go to this? Why is this happening? And then, when you're doing something that you're interested in, you're enjoying, and then you get the light bulb moment, and then the light bulb moment then recedes into like more lights flashing before you know it, you've got no pun intended, an airstrip, and things are clicking into place for you again. It was like having that vibe, and I was like, oh, this is tasty for me again. It's just, I want to invest a bit more time in ring doing stuff, training side, physicality side. I've already sent off some stuff for new gear that doesn't change much for WingCommander Nash as a palette to look at from the front on entrance. It's something from out of the entrance, so it's still improving my parts. But I know I'm not going to be tearing main events on any weekenders. I know that 100%, and I'm more than happy with that. I've been in a main event at Rise, and I hated every second of it. I was like, this is not my place. And the fans voted for me being there, and I made sure that I told them, I was like, thank you all for doing that, but don't ever do that again. In the nicest jokey old Miles dad way. I was just like, oh, that rough. But it's where if I'm asked to be on a show, I will be on a show if I can. Bookings allowed, through the small boss lady. If the boss says I can do it, I can do it. But for me, it's I'll probably still do the family shows, Leeds-ish area, unless, well, I'm currently running a streak of not on the poster but on the show, so I'm hoping to have some abs at some point soon. So I'll be like, hey, I've got abs. I know my forehead's massive, but surely you could put me on the poster and put like the writing over my forehead. That'll take an edge off of it. So I'm seeing shows advertised going, oh, they're saving the best for last. I've not been advertised, and then it's show day. They didn't post me. Nobody knows I'm here. I better post myself. So it's just a bit of it'll be in another 10 years if we do this in on the 20th year anniversary of me being a div. If I've not been JG Nash to WingCommander Nash, I could be Grandad Nash, and I can come out and say I'm salty. Do you remember back in 2007, and I had a match with the man that spit on my wife, and it was ever so awkward. That'd be the peak of me.
It's just like I said, the whole sort of just keeping yourself fit, just doing what you're doing, just keep doing what you're doing. Obviously, it's working. Like I said, things are starting to click. Like I said, light bulbs. You're working with Liam, massive fan of Liam. Guy's got a massive upside. Obviously, he knows what he's doing, and he's just like. I know he walked away for a while and focused on doing PTing. So he's back now. So obviously, you guys have known each other since the Bradford days, I presume.
Yeah. Super weird random fact number 325. I worked with his dad, so that's even weirder.
There you go.
And then I look at him and go, look at you, youth, talent, skill. Look at me. I worked with your dad. That's weird. I didn't even meet Liam through that. I was told by my manager at the time. He went, "Hey, you know that wrestling malarkey you do?" I went, "Yeah." He went, "Well, you know so and so," and he went, and I says, "Yeah." He went, "So you know his son?" I was like, "What's his name?" And he went, "Liam." I went, "Oh my god." That was in the middle of middle of an appraisal. I didn't even get a pay rise.
What?
I know. Shocking behaviour.
Like, right, just give me more money, otherwise I'll hurt him.
Pay me, or I make the kid disappear.
Dude, obviously, I know you're a massive gamer as well. We'll take a sidebar. You're doing are you online doing things now? There, are you like twitching? Are you?
Yes, I am, sir. I'm currently using my computer to my right, which I did a software update. Me and Inserico were going to do 2K22 because wrestling fans got the whole gimmick of all the wrestlers season pass. It could be Logan Paul, could be anybody, right? And I was like, right, be at my house for so and so. I'll have the room set up, I'll order food, we'll go live, play games. People watch if they don't know. I was like, because I'm still like variable streaming. And I went, I'll do an update. This will be a good idea. And then the update went, hey, now I've updated. This doesn't work. And I went, oh my God. I got sick of seeing restart, turn off. And I'm a huge Apple person. I live for the ecosystem as it is. But my God, I nearly took this Mac that I bought off Facebook Marketplace and yeeted it so far, my neighbor would have seen it and thought it was a UFO. I was like, the room was laid out perfect, and it did one thing, and I ended up like having to use the internet far more than an older person should. I was like, it's not me, it's the system. I can't be this bad. So my Twitch will be returning when I'm not in a goddamn hotel, when I'm not working late, when I gotta visit high schools with my daughter, when my wife's at the gym and she says she's doing bar work, and I'm saying, is it with a man or a woman? And she won't tell me, and then I get nervous. So the twitching is there. It's hashtag happy hour, and it never lasts an hour. And it started in lockdown because I got drunk and I put a camera in the back of the PS4. And I went, hey, I can stream off this without any fancy software. Then I buy all the fancy software, and the fancy software goes. So I was like, cool. So that will get brought around because I love the retro stuff. You give me a Streets of Rage, Golden Axe vibe, I'm happy. I will sit and this is the 50-inch TV in front of me, and it's not clever being sat that close to it and playing the game like Golden Axe because you're like, whoa. These pixels are a bit rough. Could do with rubbing Vaseline in my eyes.
You've obviously got a Switch, Carly. You were my go-to guy. At one point, my Switch broke, so I ended up messaging you about it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So you obviously, I presume you pay for the expansion pack. You've got access to the N64, SNES, Mega Drive.
Oh, yes.
Same as you, I've got obviously about a 50-inch TV, curved Samsung job. Trying to play Mario Kart 64 on it.
Okay, so me and my daughter come in here to play Mario Kart. So she had beef with the villager because we'd played some of the new courses, and the villager was tearing up her backside every time she tried to get around, to the point where I saw her, I was like, you're 10, why are you raging like you're 20? And I was like, it's fine, you know, they can overtake you. She's like, yeah, but every time I come round, a stupid head just goes. And I was like, oh. I made sure I taught her correctly. So she started playing with the NES controller. I was like, you get them 2 buttons down and a D-pad, we'll push it to 4 buttons and a D-pad. She did the NES, she did the SNES. The 64 was skipped because at the time when they released the 64 online controller, everybody had bought them except me. So I was like, boom, that sucks. So then went to GameCube, and her little brain farted at the several shapes of buttons and all the sides, and the C stick was a great invention for her. Then she started playing some PlayStation. What was she playing on PlayStation? She started a couple of PlayStation stuff, but she stepped away for that. Then she kidnapped my Xbox when she found out Minecraft was available on it. So that ended up going in her bedroom. And I was getting called every 30, 40 minutes to say, look, I've just built this new property. And I was like walking and going, oh, wow.
Good.
I was like, you should go into property development, make your father stay at home, and you could be rich. So I showed her all the Nintendo stuff. And then she sees the new consoles now. And then she'll like some stuff, but she's very pick up and put down. My son, nah, he played Call of Duty once with me because it was the only thing that I had on. He threw a tomahawk and it killed somebody. He went, well, that's me done. And I was like, I watched him walk over. I was like, but you're my child. Where are you going? We're supposed to bond. Please come back. So it's she's a variable game, but she loves coming in here, and then we will Mario Kart it, Super Mario Bros. She was offended by the original Super Mario Kart graphics wise. She was like, she couldn't take the rolling floor on the car staying still, and she's like, no, this is hurting my eyes. And I was like, you're no child of mine. But yeah, gaming wise, I'm a huge fighting game community person, to the point where my new gear has a logo on it that has the Saturday Night Slam Masters Capcom Wrestling Alliance logo, which you can't tell it is that until you look at it properly, because there's basically a bird in the back. But give me an arcade stick, not for advantage, but for my age of playing.
Yeah.
I'll Hadouken you as much as I want. I probably won't get a decent Hadouken out, but I can happily sit back now when the house is empty and it's just me. I'll plug my arcade stick in and I'll put on some of the Street Fighter collection. And I'll go, right, let's get a trophy for Street Fighter Third Strike because it's doing me nothing. 3 matches in, get this control pad out of my hand, I'm going to break my TV. Sorry about that. Oh, yeah, so it's just I thrive for the retro stuff. I love the new stuff, but I've got a disgusting Nintendo collection. I have games that I've not played. My PlayStation is just as bad. The Xbox I bought was the digital gimmick because I don't need a third set of boxes of games that I'm not going to play or may play. I'm just like that. I'll buy that. I won't short life, and then 6 months go down. I didn't know I had that.
The Switch, man, I love the expansion pack. I love the announced, I think it's about a month ago, that GoldenEye is dropping on it for the N64 expansion.
I'm going to melt so bad when that comes out. And like, is it, which one is it? Because it's also coming out on Xbox, is the GoldenEye, and one of them has it online, but the other one doesn't. But I'm hoping that the Switch version has online because it's their original content essence within regard to other licenses. But I will have 4 people sat in here, 4 Joy-Cons. I'll be like, right, lads, pick a corner. Because I'm going to come find you.
Because when that first came out, it's a blast from the past, but I used to work in a shop called Electronics Boutique.
Wow, EB.
Yeah. And obviously, you go into Electronics Boutique, they had consoles set up where you could play on them. Obviously, this was around the time, they had literally just come out on the N64, it's like 96, 97 time. We shut the shop up at 6 o'clock. 4 of us were literally walking out from midnight. We'd literally just sit there for like 6 hours afterwards. It was freaking mental. I'm sorry, not a stupid ass game. It's GoldenEye. Sorry, I didn't need to be
No,
but you stay there for like 6 hours after work, just playing this damn game every day.
I'm jealous of that. Like, I remember I worked for St James's Hospital after finishing school, because my parents were like, my dad's Irish, was like, get a job. I was like, what? No university or college? Get a job. Right, fair dues. Got a job at the hospital, and I'd worked some overtime, working in the laundry department. I remember getting my first wage, and I was like, ooh. So I went to Woolworths when that still existed. I remember buying Blackstreet, No Diggity album, and I was like, oh, I've got another level. Sorry, not No Diggity. I was like, my first own CD. I bought it myself. Oh, I like the way you work it, No Diggity. And then there was junk back purchases, and then I remember going to Dixon's on. What was that? Sorry.
The cashier say, let me bag it up.
I went, well, she's got class and style. And then bought like 5 Kinder Eggs to go with it. Oh, I can't wait to build these toy cars. But I remember, like, is it Briggate or Hedgerow, like in Leeds, it's pedestrianised now, where you could, like, you eventually get to the bottom and there's McDonald's and the Trinity side entrance. Well, you know where Fat Face used to be, or potentially still is, opposite Harvey Nicks?
I know where Harvey Nicks is. I'm a Nottingham boy. I've only lived up here X amount of years. So I don't know.
You've got terrible knowledge, lad. I'm so mad. But basically, opposite Harvey Nicks, there was a Dixon's. And I walked into Dixon's, and I went, and I didn't even go to a cash machine. And I walked in because I'd already drawn the money out and I'd seen the advertisements on the TV. And I went, I'd like to purchase one of your Nintendo 64s, please, and a red controller. And they went, oh, right, yeah. And I was like, yeah. The GoldenEye version, thank you. And I remember getting on the bus thinking, what if I get jumped on a bus, which would be terrible. I mean, it happened back then. I remember getting home, pulling the TV out of that weird little TV cabinet that parents had that was clearly bigger than the actual TV, which you didn't know if you were poor or not because I've got a tiny TV in a big wooden box. And you'd spin it round and I'd plug it in, get the tuning in. And then once that had started, I was like, I need to purchase more controllers. And then I remember me, 3 other friends, sat on the floor in my mum's house while they were on holiday, booting it up and all eyeballing each other's screen on a brief period, running around and going, I know exactly where you are. So run past him and get shot in the back.
See, it was the first game that actually had, like, when you got shot, you reacted to that point.
Yeah.
So it made it more fun if you shot somebody in the arse.
I used to stand in the stairway, and as the soldiers used to come downstairs, like, you're going to die. Bop, 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 bop. And just be waiting for the computer to process how many bodies had heaped up at the bottom of the stairs before they start vanishing them off. Some of the levels were shockingly hard at a point as well. It was wonderful. Like, the cupboard in front of me, I think there's a yellow 64 controller in there. Hang on. Yeah.
A Pokemon one.
No. I ain't got that much money to burn. This is just one of the yellow ones, and I've got a yellow and a grey. I think there's a blue one in the loft because I was going to have I've got a super scope and 2 NES zappers on the back wall here that I've stripped. The NES zappers were from one of my JG Nash's Nintendo Warrior gimmick that he did for all of 2 shows. And I had them in, and I thought it was a real shooter. And I pull out 2 NES zappers and thinking, hang on, it's a kid show. What are you doing? Bang! You're all dead. You're not really. It's just a toy gun from a computer. So yeah, I was going to have like little peripherals just dotted around on the wall in separate parts, knowing full well in 5 years that this building will deteriorate with Mother Nature and it'll be a big floppy wobbly mess. But it's my floppy wobbly mess. But yeah, I love time for games when I do have time. Hotels, take the Xbox. I can't take a PS5. It's too big. And I took the Switch for Splatoon 3 and got really angry at that. Really angry. I was like, I'm like, you're not killing all.
It was a risk bringing up games. I think we just added on like another 20 minutes to the episode.
I'm sorry, I just chat absolute nonsense.
Totally me. I totally encouraged it. But yeah, when you get the Twitch thing up and running, obviously let us know. We'll spread the word. We'll sort of on the channel and whatnot, make sure obviously everybody watches. And do you want anything you want to plug whilst we wrap this up?
No. If you can find me on social media, you can find me on social media. I post occasional silly photos. There's one of me today with me headbutting a lamp or a light. There's one of me crotching my balls. There's I'm looking deadly serious on several photos. But yeah, if you find me on social media, come find me. If you've seen me on a show poster, which I'm currently playing hide and seek on most of them, come find me. I've been WingCommander Nash. You've been wonderful to listen to me rattle on. I do apologise. Me and Gary chilling out.
Bit awesome. I will obviously thank everybody who has watched this. Hit like, hit subscribe, follow us on Twitter and Facebook. You know where to find us by now. But yeah, dude, thank you. It's actually been legitimately an awesome episode and thoroughly enjoyed it. And hopefully first of a few.
Yeah, man. Thank you for having me on. It's been a pleasure, myself. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Not a problem. I'm sure